today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to wax your snowboard. Everything you're going to need for this video is in this Outdoor Master wax kit. This is a wax kit that I've been running for the last 2 seasons. It's going to have all you need to get your snowboard running nice and smooth. Let's roll. So the first step that you're going to need to do is you're going to want to remove your bindings, and you're going to want to flip your snowboard over. The reason you want to remove or at least loosen your bindings is because actually by applying heat to them with the bolts all the way in there, it can create dimples in the base because it heats those threads up, kind of makes them look like a little pimple on the bottom of your snowboard. And so it's just much better if you go on and either remove them or at least loosen them so they're not all the way at the bottom of those insert packs. Plus, I like to remove them anyway. That way I can clean underneath them, because especially if you're like myself, you're from the East Coast, the Midwest, you're riding on man-made snow, you get all sorts of like stuff under there from that fake snow. So I like to clean the top sheet off, keep my board running nice and clean. Now before you do any of the prep work, go on and pop this open, get the iron out. You want to go on and let your iron preheat, because it is going to take it a minute to get warmed up. It is pretty cold in the garage, so get that out. Even though I am in the US, I'm used to Fahrenheit temperatures. All the wax irons that I've ever used have them in Celsius. This one has it actually in Fahrenheit and Celsius. I like to set it to 135 to 140 Celsius. Typically that seems to be about the sweet spot for me. You want to get the wax nice and hot, but you don't want it smoking. If it's smoking, you want to dial that temperature back just a little bit. One thing that I really do like about this waxing iron is you have this little light right here. When it's on like that, it means it's heating up. Once that light goes off, you're going to hear like a little bit of a click. And that means it's at the perfect temperature. It's ready to go. So let's let this heat up while we get everything else ready. One thing that is really nice about this kit, if you're like myself, you don't want to get wax on your clothes, it does come with a handy dandy little apron. Are you ready to party? So the wax kit comes with 3 brushes. Typically what I'll do before I start waxing is I'll take the medium grip brush and just sort of wipe everything down, give it a good rub down. Try to get any dirt, debris, anything like that off, just to give it a nice, good, clean starting point. And you want to wipe with the board. You don't want to go against it like this. You want to either go forward or backward, but you want to go with the grain of that board. Then I like to take either like a paper towel or a microfiber cloth, just wipe it down real good. If you have a base cleaner, this is also a good time to apply that. Just get it nice and clean. That way we got no contaminants in the base of the board. Now this wax kit does actually come with wax, but like I said, I've been using it for 2 seasons, so I've actually ran that out. So I have another block of wax that I'll be using. This is pearl wax. Used it for a while, really like it. And now it's time for the hot wax. Really, that's not at all what you want to do. There's several different methods to apply the wax to a snowboard that people like to utilize, but the one I personally like to do, get it nice and hot. I go all the way around, the perimeter of the snowboard, just drizzling it, kind of like that. Now I'll go across and zigzag, and that typically gives me enough wax. Go. Now what you're going to want to do is gently massage the wax into the base. You want to keep the iron moving. You don't want to sit it in one spot for too long, because that's going to be bad for your base. It's going to get it too hot. So I like to go just in a nice smooth circular motion and slowly rub all that wax in. You want to push it kind of out towards the edges. Just kind of go in a nice slow circular motion. You want to melt it. Push it all down in there. I've also seen some people do just kind of like this as well. It's normally what I'll do. I'll go in a circle around the whole thing, and then I'll do that back and forth, get it nice and smooth across the whole base. What I like to do next is then just kind of run my hand over it, tilt it, kind of look at it in different angles of light, make sure I got the wax across the whole base, and then you're gonna have to let it dry. Sort of the only downside to waxing. Get it all on there, and then I'm waiting at least a half hour. Typically I'll wait about an hour. I do leave it out here in the garage where it's cold, but you just want it to cool down before you do any scraping. That way it gives the wax plenty of time to sit, cool down, and when you scrape it off, it's gonna be nice and even. If you scrape it off too fast, it's just gonna come off all clumpy, and it's not gonna give the base any time to absorb the wax.
Few minutes later.
Now that you've let it sit, it's dry, it's cooled down, what you're gonna wanna do is scrape. In terms of scraping, you wanna go from nose to tail, or tail to nose. You don't wanna go across. You wanna go with the direction that you're gonna be riding in snow. You wanna give it a really solid scrape job, and it's gonna keep you running nice, fast, and smooth. I like to just take it, pull like this, apply a decent amount of pressure, try to keep this at an angle. I've also seen, I pull like this, I've also seen people do this direction. I'm gonna scrape all this excess wax off your board. There's been many times when I'm in a pinch, I'll just scrape it, go, and I'll call it a day. But if you really want to go the extra mile, you got these 3 brushes, you give it a good brush down, it's going to give it nice grooves, it's going to make your base glide a little bit faster, a little bit smoother, and it's just going to make the finish look a whole lot better. So in a pinch, there's been times I've scraped it, gone on, hit the mountain, but when I do have the time, I like to give it a good brush. I'll start with the hardest brush, then go to the medium, work my way down to the softest. Basically helps make little grooves and channels in the base, and it's going to allow you to run a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. It also just helps get off any of that remaining wax. The hardest brush, again, you just want to push, slowly go down. Again, you want to go with the direction that you're going to be riding on the snow. You don't want to go across. I'll just do a couple passes, one down each side, middle, and kind of work it back across. Again, same thing. Again, outside. Just slowly working my way. It's going to give a much smoother finish. I'll normally do each one twice. Best thing I like to do, finish this whole process, and then just kind of paper towel, wipe all that remaining wax off. And there you have it. You've waxed your snowboard. It's slick, it's fast, it's smooth, it's ready to rip. If you all are interested in picking up this wax kit, it's going to come with everything you need to help get you started. I do have it linked down below with a promo code, as well as the rest of my gear that I do run out on the mountain. If you got any questions, definitely hit me up in the comments below. Thank you guys for checking it out. If you want to watch another one of my videos, click this one. If not, we'll see you on the slope soon.